So how is it that if she felt harmed in any way, she would have spoken about it?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. There's lots of things that.
So that should decide whether she was ready or not.
There's lots of things that probably happen to you in your life that are harmful, and you don't know the difference.
No, what I'm saying is, in terms of I would not agree with this point here. If she had a relationship, if she was if she was married and she had any issues, any problems, she wasn't ready because this young age, she would have spoken about it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not saying me. I'm saying she would definitely have spoken about it.
I grant you that.
Yeah. So that's why we have positive remarks from her testimony, from her marital life with the Prophet. That is enough and sufficient for us to take and say the relationship that he has, whether she was ready or not. I mean, I don't have to go any beyond this at all. I was going to summarize it, but we keep on bringing back on this issue. In terms of the question that I was going to ask you, a lot of these issues revolve around our concept of God. What's your concept of God?
I don't really have it.
So do you have some kind of opinion about this reality and whether it was always there, what came about, and where it came about, where you come from, where you're going?
Obviously, I have opinions that are based on science, and that's about it. Obviously, I can imagine what could have been, and I think come up with.
So we're constantly learning from
alternative hypotheses, but obviously, I couldn't say anything for certain.
So, from what you understand, how's our universe always been, from scientific understanding of the different models they present?
Well, science can discuss the universe back to shortly after the Big Bang, and that's as far as it can say anything.
So it's actually a finite universe, in that sense.
Scientists don't say whether it's finite or whether it's infinite. There's models that do both. No one knows which is the right model. It could be that the Big Bang is the beginning of everything that exists. It could be that the Big Bang is part of a greater continuum where there's these events happen quite a lot. I don't find anything logically wrong with that, or I don't see how you can imagine that's not the case. But we don't know.
So, in terms of these two, opposing understanding of our universe, the different models, how do you think the role of our creation or our existence in relation to this universe? Are we a product of our universe ourselves, or are we actually the creation of a creator who created this universe? How does that sound to you, that the science that you're familiar with? Does it tell you that yes, it's possible that we can come from a product of chance or unconscious existence?
So clearly science tells us that we came out as a product of the universe. So you can call it random, you can say it's not purpose. I don't think it really matters. The universe has evolved in a certain way, and we are a part of that process. That's how we came about.
Is the universe
That being said, I don't think that requires you to be an atheist or anything, or not have a God. I don't see anything wrong with having a creator that created this process. I see nothing wrong with it.
What's your view? Is a creator involved or no creator?
I don't know.
Okay, so you're agnostic in either of the positions?
So my position as far as religion is that I do believe religions themselves to be man-made, mostly, if not entirely. That doesn't stop one from believing that there might be a creator, that he might be personal, that he might instill us with some morals or guide us morally. There's nothing that stops you from proposing it.
If you have an option of there might be a creator, then it's also possible from that option that the creator, as you said, may have guided people. And if taking that possibility to its logical conclusion, If you have a position where there is no creator, then this has one conclusion to follow from it. If you have a possibility of another option where there is a creator, and this creator can, or actually this creator created this universe, then this is logical to even to explore that this creator may have given reasons why he's created, may have shown guidance of how to live our life, may have given purpose of our life and how to follow this purpose. That means then religion entirely cannot be said, from your position, is entirely man-made. As you said, you don't say entirely man-made, but maybe some of them, maybe most of them.
Well, let's put it this way.
Not all of them.
I don't claim to be talking to God or have had any revelations or anything like this. Yet, through a purely secular means, you could come up with some of the same types of morality. And in fact, people have. There's been plenty of secular philosophy done on morality done over the last couple of thousand years. It's not strange at all.
So morality can be, something that has been accepted in a particular society, and it can change because morality is based on the social conditioning of the people. Today, you might consider yourself human sacrifice is unacceptable, but at one point, the same humans considered it to be a praiseworthy action. The Aztecs did it. It was praiseworthy. It's a noble act to actually sacrifice your own life for the rain to happen by this God who will be pleased with your own sacrifice.
That's right.
Yeah. So in this kind of understanding, the morality can be subjective, and which it is, and can be relative to particular social historical context.
Yeah, I want to clarify. I mean, morality is based on learning. I mean, part of it is a certain learning of how societies work. Clearly there was a lot more killing that went on in the streets in the earlier days than there is now. Why is that? Well, I don't think it's because of divine revelation. I think it's a matter of insight. This killing is really killing. So how can we stop this? How can
Yes.
we can all envision. I don't think one needs to be religious to envision like a utopia. What's the best kind of society we want to live in? And I think those kind of things are. There's some things that are subjective, and there's a lot more that's common. Not killing each other, not stealing from each other, respecting each other. These are things we can kind of agree on these because it makes our life more pleasant.
But this is how we're trying to accept some of these moral values. It wasn't always the case.
That's right.
Yeah, it was. So we, as you say, in your process of
It's a bit
accepting
of
morality,
awareness of recognizing that these principles are there, and that if you would just espouse a few of them, you could make a better society. So people haven't done it yet.
yeah. So in Islam, the principles are such that Allah, the Creator, tells us He has created us and instilled within us the two sets of values, understanding the good and the bad. He's shown us the both ways, the good way and the bad way. Successful is the one who purifies it, makes it better, and the loser is the one who actually goes against it and takes the wrong path. So if you look at it now, this is our makeup, the human makeup, that we have this understanding of what is good or bad, and God sends prophets and messengers to remind us and give us this guidance to follow strictly this guidance, this value system, where you can live in a society harmoniously, in a way that you prosper and you flourish and you become a better person. You develop yourself. So that's why, as a Muslim, it's a constant struggle of a Muslim's life to make themselves better, become a better person. Always from the beginning of their life until they die, to constantly make themselves better. We're not perfect, but we try to reach perfection, which we'll never reach, but this is the goal. And we're not requested or demanded of to be perfect, but we have to strive to make ourselves to that level of state of being where we are a better person. We're individuals who are the most noble, and so on and so forth. And that's why Prophet Muhammad, he said one of the reasons why he was raised was to perfect the nobility character. So you can see underlying this is an assumption that people actually are noble, but he's come here to perfect it, to give the perfection to this character. So the desires that we may have, which will make it impure, which will make it less than perfect, that will be cleansed, that will be shown that it's not right, and then uplifted to a point where you become a very noble person. So people have within themselves this idea of greed, this feelings of greed. But Islam says no, you need to control it. And there are lots of different mechanisms of controlling your greed and to show selflessness, selfishness, where you go and be a person of compassion, mercy and kindness and justice and generosity, where you control this feeling. And that is where what we are actually, one of the purpose of this life is to show where and how we can balance the way we are created in our weaknesses and follow the guidance that we are supposed to follow. If we did that, then awaits for us is another life of eternal joy, happiness, bliss, and what you call total bliss and enjoyment. But if you don't follow it and you totally corrupt yourself at the point where you make yourself destined by your own belief and actions to go to a place of eternal torture and misery and suffering. So we have this balance in this life where we have to work towards something that is better. So in Islam, this belief that we have is something that you will see that our heart and mind agrees to. That yes, we want to live forever. We want to be happy forever. We want to be, the best enjoyment and so on. But we can't achieve it in this life. We can achieve it in another life. We have to also control ourselves to help our ego to make it restrained so that it doesn't interfere with the goodness of other people. It doesn't harm others. It doesn't oppress others. It doesn't commit injustice. So if you think about these principles, you would agree with these principles already, even as a secular individual.
I was just going to say, I wonder why there's so much fighting about religious dogma. Because I was listening to what you said and I was thinking, it's funny, there wasn't a single thing that I would have disagreed with. Similar, I would say, and you would agree, that there's plenty of discussion around similar topics in other books, philosophies, speeches, whatever, outside of Islam. The only thing I didn't agree with, obviously, was the heaven and hell part, which doesn't
if you consider in our particular belief system where justice is paramount. So there are people here in this life, they live their life, their justice being violated by other individuals, and those other individuals may be like drug lords and kings and whatever. They live their life and they get away with this injustice. Get away with the injustice. And the person who has been suffering these things, they die and they don't see the justice done. Okay? Even the concept of justice demands that they don't get away, these wicked people don't get away, and the people who are injustice done towards, they're actually seeing the justice meted out to the people, and for them what injustice have been done, that's been rectified. So the day of judgment, what we say, is a necessity from the demands of justice itself. We believe in it, but it can be justifiable even from the concept of justice alone.
Do you think that, I'm just going to put this out there, do you think that kind of concept of justice, is that subjective on your part or is that real?
But this is what we accept.
The desire to have someone else punished for doing you wrong.
The desire to have justice implemented is something that is ingrained within us. Yeah. This justice, even a 3-year-old, if you snatch something from them, a toy or something, they will say, "Give it to me back." They will start crying. Yeah, it's something inbuilt. The sense, you will say human, but we as Muslims say this is already given by God. The understanding, the notion of justice, that we appreciate and we understand what it is, so that we don't violate this justice. It's very important. We are told in the Quran, very, strictly, you have to stand forth as true witnesses, just witnesses, even if it goes against you, your own family, your kith and kin. This is how important and how paramount Islam considers the concept of justice. Even if it goes against you, doesn't matter. You have to speak and bear witness in truth. A true witness, a true justice, a just person. So the Prophet ﷺ, I'm sure it was quite well known, this statement, he said, even if Fatima, my daughter, was to steal, if she were to steal, of course she doesn't, then her hands should be chopped off, meaning no nepotism, no favoritism. Justice has to be meted out, not because someone is poor and you mete the justice out, and when someone is rich, as we see today in many cultures and many nations and many countries. If you are very powerful, and if you're very rich, and in a position of authority, you just get away from the hands of the law.
Let me ask you this. Do you think we could come up with a better system of justice for theft than chopping someone's hands off? Is there a better way to remedy the situation? So
personally, no.
You've stolen.
Personally,
someone else has been stolen.
I'll tell you why. Personally, Islam is a holistic system. The system that it presents, you can call it the model of crime and punishment. This is what we say, you can't find a better system than that. Yeah, you can have many alternatives, and you can see and you can implement those, and you see which one. Because the principle of Islam is based on this issue, on what? Prevention is better than cure. And because of this principle, you will have certain punishments impeded out on certain crimes with an intention or motives of deterrent as well, a deterrent aspect. It tries to deter individuals to commit this action when everything is provided for. You don't need to, for example, if you are provided the means to sustain your life, to live your life and your family with nothing of reason for you to steal, why would you steal unless something wrong with you? Then you need to be educated. If you have no means to, if you have no reasons to steal, you're a rich person. Why would you steal a bread? You have the money to pay for it, for example. What's wrong then if you're stealing a bread? There's something wrong. It's not your poverty. Something clearly not right. So Islam looks at all of these aspects and says, look, there has to be an education system where it imparts this knowledge and understanding from the very young age, where don't steal someone's bread when you don't have to.
This brings me to the point I was saying. It's like, do you think this is the best system? And you touched on
personally, yes.
A few things is why I would. I agree with most of the stuff you said about earlier. This is where we're starting to diverge.
It's only when you look at it holistically.
You said, would a rich person steal?
No, would a rich person steal a bread, a piece of loaf?
Well, it doesn't matter.
No. Rich people steal a whole company,
how about this?
a whole half a country.
Let's forget that. Shoplifting, something petty theft. Yeah. Would a rich person commit petty theft?
Yeah. Why would they do that? Some people do. Yes, some people do.
All the time.
Why?
They're fucked up in the head. That's why.
Just to use our language,
sorry,
control way. Because of the cameras, people are listening. Young people may be listening. Okay, we're having a very nice discussion.
They're not well.
Okay, so the rich people are not very well. In here, something's wrong with their psyche. So Islam deals with these people as well from the very beginning.
Yeah,
it stops people.
Stops people from chopping of hands. I just don't. I don't think that's a good cure for mental imbalance.
No. This is an aspect of deterrence, right? A major aspect. When you have, you have to just look into practice. When Islam was implemented properly at that time with holistic laws, how many hands were chopped off? Not even a handful. Mind my pun. Not even a handful. Why? Because it made people, developed people, it improved people's understanding, their thinking, their thought processes, their emotional upbringing, and their physical upbringing, their intellectual upbringing.
So it's an interesting point you bring up.
Because that's something that needs to be looked at.
We could solve this. I don't know what countries are still chopping people's hands off for theft.
No country is implementing Islam in its entirety, so we can't really give an example from today.
It would be interesting to compare, say, maybe a Western country.
But we can't.
Incidents of theft with.
You can, but it's not going to do proper justice. Why? Because the countries which are implementing this, punishment of chopping of the hands, are they totally holistically implementing everything else of Islam? You can't half implement Islam and expect that everything works together. That would be a major problem. But when it was implemented, that's the point we should go to. When at the time of Islamic golden age, there were a long period of golden age in the early Islamic history, how many hands have chopped off and why? What was happening within the individuals in the Muslim society where the rich weren't stealing, shoplifting, for example? What was it within them?
To be honest, to be fair, it's conjecture on what.
Not conjectural, this is something that you can study yourself. Islamic history. Islamic history, when it was implemented within, say, first, 700 years. Let's give that broad period. Why was it that this amount of punishment wasn't, actually carried out to that number that we think every second person or third person they're going to get their hands chopped off, but it didn't happen.
Let's go with this. I could kind of see where you're going with this. And if we wanted to prevent theft, if that was our goal, we would cut people's hands off.
No.
I'm sorry?
If we want to stop a crime like theft happening, then we have to have laws to deal with it. Now we need to determine what crime it is. In fact,